This is a Leitmotif and Movement podcast, a father and son's journey into the vast worlds of music. I am your host, Mike Ficklin, and joining me on this epic musical journey is my son,
Michael Ficklin.
This show is dedicated to the discussion of music and introducing Michael to music from the past and present. We will mainly be discussing the genres of rock, hard rock, and heavy metal. We will also, from time to time, dive into film and video game scores, and we'll sprinkle in some surprises along the way. And speaking of that, we do have a surprise here. We have my daughter Leia making her first appearance on the show. Hi, Leia.
Hi. So my favorite singer is Jelly Roll and Taylor Swift, and they are the best. You should hear them. They are the best.
You like Jelly Roll and Taylor Swift?
Mm-hmm.
Those are your absolute favorites?
Yes.
You don't have any other favorite singers?
Well, I have Hardy. He's good because I love the truck bed, and I love Periphery, and my most favorite song of them is Wake Up.
You like that song, huh?
Yeah.
What she's talking about is The Way the News Goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From Periphery.
My Periphery off of P3. She was really mad when she didn't get to go see Periphery with us.
Extremely mad.
And then was mad again on Friday when we went to go see Sammy Hagar, and she didn't get to go to that either.
Because I really want to go to a concert because I haven't in a long time. I'm just letting you know, guys.
You've never been to a concert, and the reason why you don't get to go to a concert is because you have hearing issues, and I can't have you having problems with your good ear. You have to learn to be able to keep hearing protection in so that you're not damaging your good ear. Once I can trust you to keep hearing protection in, maybe we'll start talking about taking you to concerts, okay?
Yeah, so I know that you guys haven't heard me on these for a while, but this is my first time on a podcast, you know?
It's the first time on this show, isn't it?
Yeah, because I'm very excited because I listen to them, but I ever not to get on the show. It's a surprise.
What's your favorite song from Jelly Roll?
Save Me, and I love all the songs, and there's a new one, but I'm not gonna tell you until we have another one coming up. So it's just they're coming up until I'm gonna tell you because it's gonna be a surprise for later.
What's your favorite Taylor Swift song?
Shake It Up.
Shake It Off?
Mm-hmm.
Shake It Up.
Hey, she tried. She had it almost.
Shake It Up.
All right. Well, Leia, thank you for stopping on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for coming by and telling us about your favorite musicians.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to have you on again some other time, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thanks for coming on the show.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Did you enjoy the little conversation with your sister?
Yes.
So we'll get into our show proper here. We'll start out with our regular beginning segment. What have you been listening to this week, Michael?
Stevie Wonder?
Just the one song I assigned to you, or have you listened to some other stuff?
No, just that one song.
Okay.
And the Led Zeppelin album. And then my massive playlist with like a whole bunch of music on it.
Kind of stuff you got on there?
A lot of stuff off the playlist that I've gotten off the playlist, and then music that I've added over the past year.
Oh, when we're talking about the playlist, what are we talking about? Our listeners don't know what the playlist is.
It's basically something that we listen in the car, and it has like 5 billion songs on it.
Yeah, it's something that my wife, your mom, set up to listen to in the car that would please everybody.
Mm-hmm. It mostly pleases her.
You're not wrong. Anything else you've been listening to?
Nope.
All right. I have been listening to some new stuff that came out this week. I listened to the new Ancients album, Beyond the Reach of the Sun. It was freaking outstanding. Really enjoyed it.
Where's that band from?
Looks like they are from Vancouver, so my guess is they are, from British Columbia, from Canada.
What's the band called again?
Ancients with 2 eyes.
Is that the, around the area Protest the Hero is from?
I'm not entirely sure what part of Canada Protest is from, but Protest is definitely from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Ancients is prog metal.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably equate them maybe like a Nea Obliviscaris from Australia, or maybe Opeth.
Are they more heavy?
Yeah, they alternate between heavy and melodic.
Mm-hmm.
Also listened to the new live album from Elder, live at BBC Studios. It was a fun listen. I like Elder's music anyway, and they are kind of this, what's the best way to describe it? I would describe it as kind of psychedelic sludge, prog metal, good stuff.
Mm.
And then the last new thing I was listening to was a band called Leprous. They put out their new album, Melodies of Atonement. I haven't made it all the way through it yet, but what I've listened to so far of it, I've really been enjoying. They're one of my favorite acts. Once I get a chance to listen to the whole thing, I'll give a better overview and review of it.
How close are you to finishing it?
About 3 or 4 songs into it, so I've got a little bit to go still.
Did it just come out later this week?
It came out on this past Friday.
Oh, that makes more sense.
So once I get a chance to listen to it in full, I'll talk about it a little bit more. Also wanted to bring up and give some shout-outs to some bands that are not signed, but are trying to make a name for themselves. I'm starting a new segment on the show that I'm calling The Art of Discovery. And this is going to be all about introducing new bands or bands maybe you've not heard of before. Mm-hmm. I started talking to some of these guys on Threads and started checking out some of their music and was really digging some of this stuff. So first band I want to give a shout out to is a metalcore band called Gloryfell. They put out a new record called Season's Grievings last week, I believe it was, and I've listened to it like 2 or 3 times. It's awesome. It's really well done. I did reach out to them. I tried to get permission to play one of their songs on the show today, and I never could get in touch with them. But I will continue to try to get in touch with them because I would love to play one of their songs on the air. I think you would dig it. It's good stuff.
What type of music?
Like I said, it's metalcore, so I would equate it to like a 36 Crazy Fists or a Killswitch Engage.
Mm-hmm.
The next band I talked to on Threads was a band called Scorched Moon, and they have a record out right now called Obsidia, and they did give me permission to play one of their songs. They are a prog metal band. They're amazing. There's, people complain all the time about how nobody's doing anything original anymore and stuff, especially in the mainstream. You got to get away from the mainstream to find the good stuff. These guys are amazing. Everybody deserves to hear or everybody needs to hear these guys. The song that we're going to play is from the album Obsidia. The song is titled The Sleeping Shades 1 K-186F. Yeah, so again, that was Scorched Moon from their album Obsidia. The song again was The Sleeping Shades 1 K-186F. Those guys are a progressive metal outfit out of Atlanta, Georgia. They've been playing, around Atlanta since 2017, and describe themselves as a blend of prog, power, and melodic death metal, as well as jazz and other classical influences. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was a fun listen.
Next song that we're going to play is from a band called Message from a Raven, and this is from their Fall from Grace EP. This is a song called Edge of Insanity.
Feeling production.
Again, that was Message from a Raven with their song Edge of Insanity from their EP Fall from Grace. They are a melodic metal band from St. Louis. What'd you think?
I liked it. Definitely heavy. I heard...
Goes hard.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the entire EP. You should listen to the whole thing. It's very good. Same thing with the Scorched Moon album. It was really, really good, too.
Where are the message...
Message from a Raven?
Yeah.
They're from St. Louis, Missouri. This last song that we have here is a brand new song from a band called Triton. They are a 5-piece groove metalcore band formed in 2021 out of Dubai, so they're from overseas.
Oh.
And this new song just came out on Friday, the 23rd of August. It is called Blessed by the Grim.
Take your time to watch me die. Cry scarred flesh, home to no bride. Shackle vanity, force fed their lives. Gallow grave warning, follows his child. Take your time to watch me die.
And again, that was Triton with their new song, Blessed by the Grim. And again, they are a 5-piece from Dubai. Really enjoyed this song when they sent it to me. They actually had asked me to debut this song for them when it dropped on the 23rd. Unfortunately, it wasn't a week that we were recording. So I told them I would go ahead and drop it on this episode, though. What'd you think?
I really liked it. I think all those and everybody playing instruments were just jamming out over there.
Going hard.
Yes.
All of these songs that we featured today, you can hear on Spotify, you can hear on Tidal. I listened to them originally on Tidal.
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend checking out all 3 of these bands. We will include credits and the names of the bands and the songs in the show notes this week. So if you want to check them out, we highly encourage you, and we encourage you to follow them on social media. Let's get these guys blowing up. All right. Now we get into the fun part of the show. We're going into our main topic for this week. This week, we are breaking down Led Zeppelin's 1969 release, 2. Before we get started into this, Michael, what did you know about Led Zeppelin before this? Anything?
Nothing.
Not a thing.
I've heard you talked about Led Zeppelin, but you did not bring up any music or anything.
Let your education begin. So, as implied by the title of the album, this is the second studio album from Led Zeppelin. They are from the United Kingdom, featuring Robert Plant on vocals, Jimmy Page on guitar, John Paul Jones on the bass, and John Bonham on drums. Recognize that last name? Recognize John's last name?
Yeah. It seems like he that we would have saw him.
Would have seen his son.
Yeah.
His son Jason was the touring drummer with Sammy Hagar on the Best of All Worlds tour. Unfortunately, he had to pull out before we got a chance to see him. But I have seen Jason with his band, the Led Zeppelin Experience. I've got a signed pair of drumsticks from him.
Oh.
Yeah.
When did you get that?
When I went to see the Led Zeppelin Experience, went to see them, and I think they opened for Cheap Trick and Foreigner. They were awesome. Probably my favorite act of that whole show. They were excellent. Definitely the next best thing to actually getting to see the original Led Zeppelin lineup.
Do they do covers or?
Yeah, they're doing covers of the Led Zeppelin songs.
I was curious if his covers are originals.
Nope, no originals, all covers. So the recording sessions for Led Zeppelin 2 took place at several locations between the United Kingdom and in North America from January to August of 1969. The album's production was credited to the band's lead guitarist and songwriter Jimmy Page, and it was also Zeppelin's first album on which Eddie Kramer served as engineer. This album in particular, there are some people in the music world that credit this album for the beginning of heavy metal. Doesn't sound like heavy metal by today's standards at all.
Nowhere close.
But the attitude is there. And I think that's where a lot of people think that this is the true beginning of heavy metal. I think the band, specifically Robert Plant and Jimmy Page, would probably tell you that they don't consider themselves a heavy metal act. They think that they're just a blues-based hard rock act as far as they're concerned. And that's exactly what they sound like. Plant is a prototypical blues singer. Page's background is on blues guitar. This album, though, starts some musical innovations, not only in the way of playing, but in the way of recording.
Why do you say that?
So, you can actually hear it in songs like the opening track to this album. The album opens up with the song Whole Lotta Love. And you mentioned to me when we were talking about this previously that was your favorite song on the album, right?
Yep.
What do you like about it?
I just like the song and the beat and lyrics, and what I can understand.
It's got kind of a sexy feel to it. Plants laying it on thick with the singing in that song. The production on the song, especially in the middle of the song where Plant's vocals are kind of bouncing around in your ears in between the left and the right side.
I see why it's revolutionary.
It was revolutionary for the time, for sure. The song itself was built around a 5-note Jimmy Page riff. Apparently, according to our friends at Wikipedia, parts of the lyrics were taken directly from a Willie Dixon song called You Need Love, which led to Zeppelin getting sued for plagiarism and was eventually settled out of court. That's a bad word, plagiarism, isn't it? Zeppelin ended up performing Whole Lotta Love at every gig from June 1969 onward. It tended to be the closing number of their live shows between 1970 and 1973, and often it extended to incorporate a rock and roll medley towards the end of the set.
Was it like a hit?
Oh, it was a huge hit. Yeah, it was a huge hit. It's been praised as one of the definitive heavy metal tracks. And again, the band would disagree with being distinguished as being heavy metal. But people consider Whole Lotta Love to be one of those tracks that was instrumental in bringing about the heavy metal movement in music. Just got that.
Yeah.
It's that vibe. It's that feeling.
The first time I heard that song, or the whole entire album, all the way through, I did not get that feeling.
Don't get the heavy feeling?
No.
Well, that's because you got started out with listening to more modern heavy metal, though.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you a background, something to see how it builds from here to where we're at now. The next song on the album is a song called What Is and What Should Never Be. Kind of a bluesy song. It was primarily written by Robert Plant. And it kind of features these flanged vocals and the wide-panned stereo guitars. What did you think of this song?
If it's the song I'm thinking of, I like the song so much it was my second favorite.
So we go from the first track, which is Whole Lotta Love, which is your first favorite, to the second track being your second favorite.
If it's the song I'm thinking of. I was not looking at the track names when I was listening to it.
Sir. I like What Is and What Should Never Be. It's kind of got a weird, spacey, psychedelic vibe to it.
It is the song I'm thinking of. Alright.
I mean, I like Whole Lotta Love, too. Whole Lotta Love is fantastic. I've heard it so many times now, though, it's one of those things that...
You just get grown tired?
No, I think I take it for granted every time I hear it now, because I've heard it so much. I heard it a lot growing up. My dad and my uncle loved Led Zeppelin, and my dad was always listening to the classic rock radio stations as I was growing up and stuff, so I heard that song a ton. I heard a lot of Led Zeppelin, and I think I told you previously in our conversation earlier today that I didn't like Led Zeppelin when I was a kid.
Me.
I actually thought they were kind of boring. My dad listened to them all the time and stuff, and they had this commercial on when I was a kid advertising this Led Zeppelin box set, and every time it came on, I made fun of it, and I gave my dad a hard time about it. I didn't start appreciating and liking Led Zeppelin until I was a little bit older. I had a friend in high school. He had this Led Zeppelin Live at the BBC record, and he's like, man, you gotta... Do you like Led Zeppelin? And I'm like, no, not really. You gotta check this out. If all you've ever heard was just their studio recordings, you gotta listen to them live because it puts it in a different perspective. Said, okay, I'll check it out. Borrowed it from him, and he was right. I listened to it, and I absolutely fell in love with Zeppelin then. That live album is what made me enjoy Zeppelin. So much so, in fact, that I ended up asking my parents for a Led Zeppelin box set for Christmas, and ended up with a box set with all of their albums. So, yeah. So I understand kind of your hesitation and why you told me earlier that you kind of had a bit of a difficult time getting into the record, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many times did you end up listening to it before we did the show?
Last time I counted, it was at 5, and that was last night. And then, I listened to it like 5 billion times today.
Trying to get ready for this?
Yes.
So the next song after What Is and What Should Never Be is the Lemon Song, and this is one that I could take or leave. It's not my favorite song on the record. It's okay. What were you about to say?
I kind of think of it as the Inside from 5150.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good comparison.
I don't really care about it. It didn't really interest me.
It's pretty... How do I want to put this? It's pretty suggestive. When Plant drops the phrase in the middle of the song, "Squeeze my lemon." I mean, according to our friends at Wikipedia, that phrase got borrowed from Robert Johnson's Traveling Riverside Blues, which apparently Zeppelin had played for the BBC radio show Top Gear. From what I've read about it, it's a rearrangement of Howlin' Wolf's Killing Floor. I've never heard the original version of it.
What is that?
Yeah, I've never heard the original version of it. It's just something that I had in my notes from when I was doing a little bit of research on it.
Mm.
It's just there.
It's just there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan. It's probably my least favorite song on the record.
Agreed.
Anything else to say on it?
Nope.
From the Lemon Song, it goes into Thank You, and I do like this song. This one was written by Robert Plant as a love song to his wife, Maureen. Interestingly, Jimmy Page played the song on a 12-string guitar, while
12-string?
While John Paul Jones played a Hammond organ on the track. It's a really pretty song, and it's very befitting of Plant's feelings for his wife.
All I know is I liked most of the record, except for the Lemon Song.
Fair enough. Apparently it wasn't memorable enough for you to have an opinion about this. I will say this. I could have started you with a different Led Zeppelin record. I could have started you out with probably the far more commercial and more popular Led Zeppelin 4.
Mm-hmm.
There's a crap load of huge hits that are on Led Zeppelin 4. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want to start you there. I wanted to start you with 2, which is where they really started to take off. I could have started you with 4, though, and in hindsight, maybe I should have started you out with 4 because I think maybe you might have enjoyed it just a little bit more.
Yeah. And the main reason why I have trouble memorizing it is because on most of the songs, the vocals are, sound very old and did not age well. Like the microphones they use.
I wouldn't say it didn't age well. Zeppelin is still very well regarded. Their musical production is still really well regarded. It holds up really well, in fact. I just think you weren't ready for it. I don't think... That's kind of part of the fun of doing this show, is introducing you to some of this older stuff. Because it's stuff that you wouldn't have heard otherwise.
Yeah.
And it gives you an appreciation for what's come afterwards. Because these guys are what helped to inspire modern rock and roll, modern heavy metal. I mean, these guys were inspirations on Sammy Hagar, so...
Oh, I did not know that.
Moving on from Thank You, the next song on the album is called Heartbreaker. Heartbreaker was mostly written by Jimmy Page to kind of show off his guitar skills. It does include a really good solo in the middle of the song.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, according to our friends at Wikipedia, it became a... I never got to see Zeppelin live, so they were broken up before I
Why did they break up?
I was old enough to even remember. I think the main reason they ended up breaking up was because John Bonham passed away tragically.
Oh.
So when Bonham passed away, they just decided to call it quits, and I want to say that happened in 1980, which was the year before I was born.
Why did he pass?
I don't know. He was an alcoholic, and those kinds of things don't mix. In the end, they always end up catching up to you.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I wasn't obviously around to get to see Zeppelin in their heyday. So I'm picking up quite a bit of this stuff from Wikipedia and doing some research on how they were as far as their live performances were concerned. And according to Wikipedia, Heartbreaker was a big live favorite and was performed regularly from October of '69 all the way throughout the group's career. So this was a big hit for them and a big hit with the fans.
So, crowd favorite?
Yeah. Guitar World ended up voting the solo in the middle of the song the 16th greatest guitar solo of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's saying a lot, right?
Yeah.
And Heartbreaker was also ranked number 320 in 2004 by Rolling Stone magazine in their 500 greatest songs of all time. If that doesn't tell you how great this song actually is and how well regarded it actually is. Do you have any thoughts on Heartbreaker?
No.
None whatsoever?
No.
I love Heartbreaker. It's one of my favorite songs on the record. And I do want to say, even though you don't have a lot of opinions on this and stuff, you're going to appreciate this later on. I promise you are. And that goes for any of our younger listeners. When you sit down and listen to Led Zeppelin 2, try and keep in mind that you're learning something new, that you're seeing the evolution of music. When you listen to Led Zeppelin 2, you're hearing a band that is coming into their own, and they're starting to develop these revolutionary techniques for the time. And you can see how their work in recording and the way that they write music influences things today?
Yeah, I can see with the left to right shifting with that
The stereo panning.
Yeah. I think that's the big thing I noticed. But also, I haven't listened to any music past 1980s.
So this was really your first time getting into music older than that?
Yes.
Actually, now that I think about it, no, it's not. You like the Beatles.
Oh.
I like the Beatles, too. And we are going to talk some Beatles on the show eventually. The next track after Heartbreaker is a song called Living Loving Maid, She's Just a Woman. This is one of the big radio hits that was off the album. I like this song. It's a good rocker. Reportedly, this song was written about a groupie that the band had encountered while touring in the United States. Apparently, the band itself didn't really like the song and didn't like playing it. They considered it to be just a throwaway filler track. So, apparently they never really played it live. I like this song.
Is it on Wikipedia? They got that.
That information is coming from Wikipedia, yeah. Again, anything that I talk about as far as live performances are concerned, I'm pulling from Wikipedia. Because, again, I wasn't around to be able to get a chance to see these guys live as much as I would have liked to. Any thoughts on this song? Well, before I ask you that, do you know what a groupie is?
No.
So, a groupie is stereotypically a female fan that hangs around and is generally always backstage. They always, chase around, a particular band. Sometimes there develops relationships from that. So, I'm trying not to get too deep in the weeds on that, but that's what this song is about. So, knowing that, what do you think about this song?
I know I liked the guitar work and every instrumental. I don't remember the vocals very well. I just know the beat very well.
Okay. Fair enough. Alright, so the next song on the album is probably, I really like Whole Lotta Love, and I like Living Loving Maid. Ramble On is my favorite song on the album. Hands down, Ramble On is my favorite song. It was a song that was written by Robert Plant, and the lyrics were inspired by one of my favorite things in the world. It's inspired by the writings of J.R.R. Tolkien. Do you recognize that name?
I don't.
So Tolkien is who wrote The Lord of the Rings. He's also who wrote The Hobbit. And there are lyrics in Ramble On that are pulled from the writings of Tolkien. In fact, I think Plant liked the works of Tolkien so much that he ends up using quite a bit of themes, and I think at one point he even name drops some characters from the Lord of the Rings in one of their songs. So Plant really liked this stuff. Apparently, according to Wikipedia, they never performed the song live during their main career, which is surprising to me because I want to say this is one of their bigger radio hits. I remember hearing it on the radio all the time. Apparently, according to Wikipedia, it was finally performed live for the first time by Led Zeppelin at the Ahmet Ertegun tribute concert in 2007. And apparently, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant were inserting it into some live sets in the mid-1990s, but that wasn't with the full Led Zeppelin band. But if you can't sit down and listen to Ramble On and not have a good time and not stomp your feet and want to dance, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I think I can agree with you. I double-checked if I knew what the song was, and it was one of the songs I liked.
Yeah? It's... When I went back and listened to this record for our podcast tonight, I listened to Ramble On on repeat a couple of times because I love that song so much. And I generally don't do repeat listens of songs and stuff like that. I usually will listen just to the whole album over again, but I had to listen to Ramble On a couple times because I love that song so much. I was even in the car singing it at the top of my lungs when I went to go pick up groceries earlier today. So I love that song. Great tune.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Ramble On?
Nope.
All right. The next song on the album is a song called Moby Dick, and apparently was designed as a way for John Bonham to show off on the drums. And I've mentioned to you before that I've thought John Bonham is one of the top 3 drummers of all time, if not maybe number 1.
Who are the top 3 for you?
I'd have to go Bonham, Neil Peart from Rush, and people might hate me for this.
Oh? Controversial pick?
It's only become a controversial pick in recent years for some reason. Because this band was widely loved, but only recently has started to take some flack.
Was it controversy?
No, just people griping about the songwriting and about the singers.
So basically,
the way the singer is performing on the modern records. The band is Dream Theater. The drummer is Mike Portnoy. Mike Portnoy, you might also recognize, was the drummer for one of the bands I introduced you to that you liked really well. A band called the Winery Dogs.
Oh.
So Mike Portnoy is probably number 3 on my list. So you got Bonham, you got Neil Peart, and you got Mike Portnoy. What do you think? Do you know anything from Neil Peart or Rush?
No.
No? We're going to get into some Rush, buddy. Yes, we will definitely be listening to some Rush. You will love it. I know you like the Winery Dogs, that first Winery Dogs record though, right?
Yeah, I like the...
It's a self-titled record.
Yeah, I know. I have to go on an adventure to figure out which ones you sent me. It was Elevate, I'm No Angel, We Are One, Not Hopeless, Desire, and One More Time.
And you like all those songs,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. And Portnoy just killing it on the drums on those songs.
I had to go all the way back to 2023.
So anyway, Moby Dick was, again, set up as kind of a way for John Bonham to show off and kind of do a bit of a drum solo. Apparently, this was a song, according to Wikipedia, that was a regular part of Led Zeppelin's live show. They developed it out to include some additional percussion and electronic drums. It's an instrumental song, and it's okay. It's just a big drum solo. Again, being a John Bonham fan, I enjoy this, but I could see why someone else wouldn't find enjoyment in it unless that they were really into the music or they were really into the art of drumming. What did you think of it?
From the start, you can definitely tell that it's meant to be a drumming solo part of it, because it starts out with like the drums, and then it goes into guitar and drum.
Yeah, and they're playing in a heavier tuning on the guitar. They're playing in drop D, and you'll see that kind of tuning when we get in, a lot of that kind of tuning when we start getting into grunge music from the 90s. It just
Grunge?
gives... Yeah, it's a subgenre of metal.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Bands like Nirvana and Alice in Chains made that drop D tuning popular. The last song on the record is a song called Bring It On Home. And this was apparently a cover of a Willie Dixon song that I've never heard before. But it was a Willie Dixon song originally performed by Sonny Boy Williams. According to Wikipedia, Led Zeppelin's arrangement includes a faster middle section than the original. And apparently they played it live pretty regularly throughout the throughout late 1969 and 1970. It's not one of those ones that sticks out when I think Led Zeppelin, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not one of those things that I go, oh yeah, you bring up Led Zeppelin, I love Bring It On Home. That's it's not one of those kinds of songs for me.
Uh-huh.
But it is a quality closer. It's better than Van Halen's Inside, which I know is kind of a low bar, and it's better than the Lemon song. So
yes. My opinion on the song, I think it's just a little too slow for me.
Really?
Yeah.
You think this last song is too slow?
Yeah.
I think maybe you're thinking of a different song, because the way that the kind of has this swing to it that goes with the lyrics, that kind of makes it sound like it's cruising along on a train track, because there's a section in the lyrics where they're talking about having bought a ticket and the conductor hollering all aboard.
I retract my opinion. I meant that by the end of the song, where it's just like all instrumental.
Did you get bored with it?
Yeah.
It's fair. That's fair. I understand. And again, I was not expecting that you were going to love everything that we cover on this show, right? But I wanted you to be exposed to it. And I wanted you to take that, and if you even liked a little bit of it, to dive down the rabbit hole and see what else you might like from it, from other things you might like from Led Zeppelin, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else to say about Led Zeppelin 2 on the whole?
I didn't really enjoy it at first, and then I started to enjoy it earlier today.
Oh yeah?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know you mentioned to me earlier this week that you weren't really feeling it and stuff. So I'm glad to hear that it kind of grew on you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. I'm glad to hear that. So, give me an overall rating out of 5. What do you think about Led Zeppelin 2?
4.
Giving it 4, even though you weren't even overly impressed with it, huh? I'm interested to hear why you're giving it a 4.
If I had started listening to it more originally, I may have given it a 4.5. It's just because I didn't really start catching on to it until here recently. I don't know why. I couldn't really explain.
Just couldn't get into it at first.
Yeah.
And I understand. I had the same problem when I was your age. I get it. The next Led Zeppelin album we cover, we'll find you something that you'll dig into right away. For me, Led Zeppelin 2 is the beginning of the road for Led Zeppelin. This is the start. For me, this is the real start of their journey. They did have one album before this, but to me, Led Zeppelin 2 is where it all begins. That said, it's not as good as some of the albums that came after it, but it does set that bar for the innovation in recording techniques and the innovation in the way that they were writing their music. And to that end, I will give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Oh! I was not expecting that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it my favorite of the Led Zeppelin albums by far, but it was a good starting point. It's a good place to go back to so that you can see how the band evolves from here.
I thought at the very least you would put it at a 4.
No, I think it's about 3.5 for me. So our question for the audience is, what are your thoughts on Led Zeppelin 2? We do want to hear those thoughts. I actually want to hear thoughts about everything we talk about, really. But I'm very interested in how other people feel about Led Zeppelin 2, especially people from the generation that grew up with Led Zeppelin. I'd really be interested in hearing from those folks and seeing their thoughts on Led Zeppelin 2, and especially as it compares to Led Zeppelin's entire catalog. So, yeah, we do want to hear from you on your thoughts on Led Zeppelin 2. Moving into our next segment, we are going to talk about music coming soon. This is our Can't Wait segment, and I do have a couple of things that I'm looking forward to, but before I get into that, Michael, what's on the horizon for you, buddy? Anything that you're looking forward to?
I have no clue about music still.
My man just shrugged at me. we don't film this stuff, but he totally just shrugged at me. Sir, we're going to have to start showing you how you can start looking for music that you're looking forward to, my friend. So for me, there's a couple of things that are on the horizon here for over the next couple of weeks. There's a new God is an Astronaut album coming out called Embers. If you've never heard God is an Astronaut, they're kind of this, I would call them kind of post-rock. They're all instrumental. Very cool stuff.
Oh,
looking
all
forward to the new album.
instrumental?
Yeah, all instrumental. No vocals. And then the next album that I'm really looking forward to is from a band from Texas called Oceans of Slumber. They've got a new album called Where Gods Fear to Speak. The first Oceans of Slumber stuff that I heard from them was more kind of in a prog metal kind of vein. Their last album went more kind of a mainstream, straightforward kind of metal album. And it was good. I didn't think it was as good as their previous stuff. I'm kind of hoping this one is going back to that prog metal sound. They've got a really excellent vocalist. She's amazing. Her name is Cammie Gilbert. The first song that I ever heard from them was a cover of a Led Zeppelin song called Kashmir. And what they do with it is, it's amazing. They take a song that was already excellent, and they made it their own and put their own spin on it. It's so good. And if you've never heard their version of it before, I highly recommend going and checking it out. It's so good.
They add their own vocals and stuff?
they just kind of put their own flavor on it musically. I mean, they don't change the lyrics or anything like that, but they do kind of they mess with the melody a little bit. It's awesome. Well worth checking out. I'll have to show it to you sometime. So those are the two albums that I'm really looking forward to here over the next couple of weeks. Michael, we're going to have to learn you some stuff so that you can start watching out for music you like too. We didn't receive any listener feedback this week, but I do want to encourage to continue to send us feedback. We do enjoy hearing back from folks. We enjoy getting those questions, and we enjoy getting the feedback on what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong and ways that we can improve. So please feel free to get that feedback into us. For our next segment, it is time to get into Michael's journey. We're discovering a song from the past. And for Michael, on our last episode, I assigned him the wonderful Superstition by Stevie Wonder. Michael, what did you think of Superstition?
First, I felt different about the beat. It was a fun song to listen to.
Dude, I love that song. I can sit and listen to that song on repeat. It's such a good song. It's got that funk. It's Stevie's wonderful vocals, that killer bass riff to open up the song. It's so good. It makes you want to get up and dance, doesn't it? It's magic. I love Superstition. So, fun fact about this song. You aren't going to know who this is, but some of our music-loving listeners probably are going to know who this is. Jeff Beck was an amazing guitarist, and he was apparently a big lover of Stevie Wonder's music, and he actually worked with Stevie Wonder on writing this song. So I didn't know this until I started looking into it for the show, and I thought that was awesome. So I had no idea that Jeff Beck had worked with Stevie Wonder on this song. I love the horns on this song. When the horns kick in, I can't lie. I like horns anytime they get introduced to music. There's a few heavy metal acts that I listen to where they'll bring in a sax or some horns, and I'm like, oh, this is taking us to a sexy place. I love this. I'm going to have to, speaking of that, I'm going to have to turn you on to Rivers of Nile's song, Where Owls Know My Name, because there's some saxophone in that, and man, when that kicks in, it takes that vibe in a totally different place. It's amazing. But anyway, the addition of the horns on this song just send it into the stratosphere.
I learned a few fun facts when I was listening to this. Context, I was in the car with my grandmother, and she apparently likes Stevie Wonder, and she told me a few fun facts. One, Stevie Wonder was blind, which I did not know.
Pretty amazing that he's doing all this instrumentation and writing and singing the song. It's just super talented.
Mm-hmm. You have to be extremely talented for that. I don't even think I could do anything with my eyes closed.
Very difficult to do. And to have that kind of dedication to your craft, to be able to learn to play that without sight. Yeah. Amazing stuff. And he's an amazing singer. You said you had another fun fact that you learned from Grandma?
No.
Okay, just that you didn't know that Stevie Wonder was blind? Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool that he was able to to overcome his disability and become one of the greatest singers of all time.
Agreed.
Give me your overall thoughts on Superstition, sir.
Are we ranking it between... How are we ranking this?
We're doing it out of 5 like we did with everything else.
Are we going to be ranking it in between all of the songs during this journey?
We don't have to, but we can go back and look at it. I'm keeping a spreadsheet that I will eventually share with the listener base and stuff so they can see, kind of track your journey and see where you're at with it.
What do I want to rate
For
this?
context, you gave the last episode, which was Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, you gave that a perfect score.
Oh, okay. I may have to give it another perfect score.
All right. Michael's given this 5 stars out of 5.
500 out of 500.
I'm glad you enjoyed this as much as you did. It's just such a fun song. It's one of those songs that when I hear it come on, I can't help but want to dance, and I can't dance a lick. But when it comes on, I want to dance. It's just got such a killer, funky beat. Yeah, I love this song. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So for your next assignment, you are going to listen to a song called My Girl by a group called The Temptations. All very talented singers, and I really think you're going to enjoy the song. It's one of my personal favorites. Your grandma likes that song very much too, so yeah, I think you'll dig it. And on our next episode, Michael, for our next episode, we're gonna take a little step forward in time.
Oh yes,
we're coming up out of the 60s and we're coming into the aughts. We're going to step forward a little bit and talk a little bit about something that I know Michael likes and has heard some from. I don't know that he's heard the whole thing, but
I have heard that whole entire album all the way through once or twice.
So for our next episode, we are going to cover the amazing 36 Crazy Fists 2006 release, Rest Inside the Flames. Fun fact about this album. This album was cut, but the record label refused to release it, and we'll talk more about that when we get into the episode.
Oh?
And with that said, we want to hear from you. We will read your emails and messages on the show. We have only one request: keep them clean. There are several ways to contact us. You can email us at lightmovepod@gmail.com. You can also reach us on several social media platforms such as Facebook, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. Details on how to contact us are in the show notes on every episode. If you liked the show, subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting platform and share with your friends and family. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and a variety of other platforms. And we're also now on YouTube. Can't find us on your chosen platform? Shoot us a message and let us know.
Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This helps us to be found in the algorithm. Make them good and we'll read them on the air. Are you in a band and you'd like us to check you out and possibly drop a recommendation on the show? Shoot us a message. We'd love to check you out and give you a shout.
Just like we did it earlier today. We'd like to thank you very much for listening to the Light Motif and Movement podcast. Take care and enjoy music.